Now we're going to look at something called the addition rule. So if A and B are events, the addition rule is this. The probability of A or B equals the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. And we're going to take a look at an example. Let's take a look at an example. In a box that you can't see into are 3 yellow cards, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 green cards, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. The experiment is to randomly draw 1 card. So Y is going to be a yellow card, G is going to be a green card. Each card is equally likely to be drawn, and the sample space they've given us is Y1, Y2, Y3, G1, G2, G3, G4. And there's 7 cards in the sample space. They want us to answer what's the probability of drawing a green card or a card with a 1 on it. So this is the addition rule, and this is the equation we're going to use to solve this, and we are going to systematically work through this problem. So the first thing, we're going to find what A is. A in this case is the probability of drawing a green card. Here's our green cards. B is a card with a 1 on it. So we have a yellow and a green. Next, we're going to find the probability of A. So what's the probability of drawing a green card? Well, there's 4 green cards out of 7 total cards. What's the probability of getting a card with a 1 on it? There's 2 cards with 1 on it out of 7. And the last thing, we have to find the probability of A and B. So what's the probability of A and B? And A and B is where the items are in both A and B. And there's only one, G1, right? So 1 out of 7. So now we can go ahead and do this equation. So the probability of A or B is the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. So the probability of A was 4/7 plus probability of B is 2/7 minus probability of A and B 1/7. Since they all have the same denominator of 7, we can add the numerators. 4 plus 2 is 6, minus 1 is 5. So the probability of drawing a green card or a card with a 1 on it is 5/7. And if you wanted to switch that to a fraction, there's a 71.4% probability of drawing a green card or a card with a 1 on it. So just a note about the addition rule and mutually exclusive. If A and B are mutually exclusive, then the probability of A and B equals 0, right? They can't happen at the same time. And the addition rule then becomes the probability of A or B equals the probability of A plus the probability of B. So an example would be if A and B are mutually exclusive events, like in the previous example where we said you want a trip to either Africa or Australia, but you can't be in both, can't do both. So the probability of A is 0.05, the probability of B is 0.62. Find the probability of A or B. Now, since A and B are mutually exclusive, then our addition rule is now the probability of A or B equals the probability of A plus the probability of B. So we add those two together and we get 0.67.